Free. Hi, Marcy.
Hi, how are you, Michelle?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. Busy, busy.
Good, good, good. Busy is good. This podcast episode is brought to you by Fox Valley Elevator.
Beautiful and designed, innovatively engineered. At Fox Valley Elevator, we're taking our industry to new heights by designing and building luxury elevators that boast the quality and craftsmanship that clients expect from Fox Valley Elevator. With a complete selection of cat finishes, our elevator can be customized to match your home's decor. Fox Valley Elevators tries to make your life so much easier with a quiet, comfortable, superior ride. To find the best elevator for your home, visit foxvalleyelevator.com.
Hi. Today we have Marcela Abadi Rhoads. Marcela Abadi Rhoads, owner of Abadi Accessibility and architecture, an author of the ADA Companion Guide, prides herself in being available to her clients during all phases of design and construction in order to ensure that the Texas accessibility standards are being adhered to and understood. Her goal is to assist the design professionals and building owners in eliminating architectural barriers and allowing access into their buildings for people with disabilities. Welcome, Marcy.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
So one of the reasons why I wanted to have Marcy on my podcast is that I see her, on the internet. She's engaged with the Mothers in Architecture group, but then I'm also on her personal Facebook, and she just posts like the most inspirational thing on Facebook. It just really, like, when I open it up and I like see it, and then I read it, it just like makes me like, okay, I can get through this day, and I just thought that would be a good person to have on the first of the year, right? When we're making all these New Year's resolutions and we want to try to be our best in the new year.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. I'm glad that it's inspiring you. That's the goal.
And also, you're an accessibility expert. So we have not had anybody on. I had to add on to my own home because I had to accommodate a family member who had some accessibility issues, and or not issues, it just became a way of life for us. And our existing home was not able to accommodate. And so we added on so that we would be able to have a wheelchair go through doorways because it was a 1953 house. They were all, yeah, exactly. So literally our bathroom doors are 2.0 wide in the existing house,
Yeah,
And
I could see that.
Yeah. So that would never, and then people were saying, well, why don't you just add on to your bathroom? And I said, because you couldn't get through the doorway it was so small in there. And so we added on, a roll-in shower and bathroom and totally accommodated with, no obstruction underneath the sink. And, we have a shower chair and plenty of room in there.
Awesome.
And then also, yeah. And then the doorways were wider, the hallways were wider in order to accommodate all. So, and then we could just add on.
You designed it?
Pardon me?
You designed it?
I did. Yeah. I designed it. I designed it, and we built it. And then we have a deck with we built it, and then we could bring them home from the rehab facility.
Yay.
Yeah.
So you're so handy. I don't know if I could be able to build it. I could design it, but I don't know if I could build it.
No, I didn't build it. Luckily, one of my contractors he gave me a really good deal. Otherwise, we would not have been able to do it. Yeah, we wouldn't have been able to do it otherwise. Yeah, I mean, we were able to do some things, and then we just, we just had to like put it off. I mean, like I did tile the bathroom.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, one of my friends they had helped me tile one of the other bathrooms, but it was a smaller one. This one is really big because of the floor, is all 2x2 tiles. And then the walls on the, in that corner you know, in that whole area are tile. So there's a lot of tile, and it's still not done, Marcy. You know, an architect's house is never done,
Ever.
right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, so what would you like to say about your practice?
So I started my practice when my daughter was born, almost 21 years ago. That's why I chose to have my own practice, because I wanted to be with my daughter and I wanted her not to be in daycare, and I wanted her, to be involved in her life. And
Me too. Me too.
yeah,
Yeah, 30 years ago. Yeah, that's what.
best
Yeah.
decision I made, the best decision. And in the beginning, I was twiddling my thumbs, going to mommy and me classes and whatever, but it slowly, and I had one client, and it slowly grew and grew and grew. And, and I actually was working at my house. It's funny because in COVID, everybody went from their office to their house. And for me, I was always in my house. And then after COVID, it was like I grew so much that I had to kind of go out of my house, and now I'm in a new office. And
Okay.
in July was 1 year ago that I left my house, and I was so comfortable in my house. But I didn't want to. I mean, it was a great commute, from my bedroom to my office. It was great. But this office isn't so bad. It's about 7 minutes away. So my practice is actually, I'm grateful that you have very good clients who, trust me and believe in the cause of, they don't get annoyed by the fact that they have to use me as an accessibility consultant. And even my architectural clients are, really, thank God, they're very good at, trusting me and letting me guide them. They don't fight with me too much. But yeah, so my practice is
Hey, how can they? It's code. So it's like, what do
well,
you?
but
Yeah, yeah.
are you kidding? They argue. I mean, there's, who argues with me? I love them very much, and they do a great job. Contractors, they love to argue with me. I mean, it's like they don't. I'm
They
like,
argue with everybody. They argue
and
with everybody. Yeah, even the
and
people in the thing. I took a video. I actually posted it on Instagram. But my contractor, went to do I went to video the thing, and all of a sudden he starts having this conversation with with the client who he referred that client to me, right? He was that client. And he was dropping the F bomb. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna post it just like this. Just like this. I'm gonna post it. And he was basically bad mouthing the his workers.
usually
Who
they want to badmouth the architect. It's the architect's
no,
fault.
no, no. I know. Yeah. He was like that because they're young and they're friends. And I'm like, that's the problem. I'm like, they're friends. So they're like sitting there, even though they're guys, right? They're young, right? And they said a couple things. And I just told them, I'm like, they cannot be in any of my projects saying anything like that. I said, you never criticize anything you never criticize anything about the client's house, about anything about them. You keep your mouth shut, but yeah, I had to tell him that. And he was like, well, they're young. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah,
They're
no.
old enough to know better, right? If
Yes,
they're not two, they're old enough to know.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's,
Yeah.
yeah,
So that's
yeah.
so so that's what I do. Like I just help owners and architects make sure that they follow the code. Like I look at their
Mhm.
drawings first, and then I go out and do the inspections. So and yeah, it's a great feeling, like to be able to help out like that, to make a
Wow.
difference.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So what are your first recollections of experiencing architecture?
So I remember, I don't know how old any of your listeners are, but there's this Fisher Price, right? The little people,
Yes.
they used to make like everything. They had a farm, and they had a school, and they had an airport, and I became an urban planner. Like I remember, I
Marcy, I
remember
totally have the same. Well, I still have them.
yeah, me
And the
too.
airport. Did you have the
Yes,
airport?
yes, and an
Did you have
airplane.
the airport? Oh my gosh, that airport was great.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, I had a
Yeah.
castle. I even had a
Yeah.
castle. So, anyways, like the airport was really, really far away down the hall. And then and then I had a little village, like a little house, and the little at school, and I even had a
Yeah.
McDonald's. It wasn't really a Little People
Yeah.
McDonald's, but it
Yeah.
was kind of like the fake one, the
Yeah.
knockoff.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
was there. And then it was like, and I had a little bus for the school. I mean, like and I became an urban planner, like just when I was little. And then I remember sketching my dream house. And I
Mhm.
remember, I mean, it was like, I remember, my sister had Barbies, and I didn't like Barbies. I like the Legos. I used to, play with my Lego sets, and,
Yeah. Yeah.
so I was like the nerdy, you know, ever since I can remember I wanted to be an architect. I don't know, just kind of came to me.
Yeah. My
Yeah.
mom wouldn't even let me, my mom wouldn't even let me have a Barbie. I had Malibu
Yeah, I
Skipper.
remember all the skipper.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah. So,
all I wanted to do was play with the house, the little
yeah.
Barbie
Oh, yeah.
three-story.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't care about the Barbie or the skipper. I just wanted
Yeah.
to go up and down the elevator. That's what I like, just the condo. That's what I liked.
Yeah. Yeah. So what three classic buildings do you like and why?
Okay, so we were just talking about the TWA terminal in New York. Have you seen what they did to it? It's a hotel
I
now.
did. I've wanted to. I mean, I've kind of told the story before because I had reservations and then COVID happened, and then I called
You need
up.
to
Yeah,
go. You need to
yeah,
go.
and I called
It's
up and yeah,
it's the coolest thing ever. Like, you're like in the terminal, and it feels like you're in the terminal, but and it's cute because you come in, and you know how, like, in regular hotels, the bellboys, they grab your suitcases. They're dressed like baggage handlers in an
oh
airport. I mean,
really?
it's at the airport. It's a JFK, and so you walk in. It's like these guys are grabbing your bags like they're baggage, putting it in a conveyor belt, and then the ticket counter is still there, and that's your reception desk. And then you have the little it's not a monitor. It's like the old, when they used to like announce the arrivals, and that's still
Uh-huh.
there. And it's
Uh-huh.
everything's the same, like you were in the 60s, like you're in a time warp. And then
Uh-huh.
that's the coolest part. It's like, wow, the coolest part is like everything's from the 60s and whatever, but you go out into the tarmac. I mean, it's at the airport. Okay, so there's a
Mhm.
tarmac, and you go outside, and there's a old TWA airplane that you can walk up, and it's a bar.
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
I've seen
it
that.
was
Yeah.
so much
Yeah.
fun. It was so much fun.
When
I
did
mean,
you go?
I went not last year, the year before, in the
Okay.
summer. Because it was
Oh,
my
in the
cousin lived
summer.
in
Uh-huh.
Brooklyn, and I went to her wedding, and I took my mom and my daughter. We stayed overnight at the hotel, and then we
Oh, you
drove to
did?
Brooklyn.
Okay.
And it
Yeah.
was the coolest thing. And then, but what's cool is the air Serenins. They have a little, his office, his studio, a replica of his studio, Therenin studio. And then they also have Howard Hughes's office, a replica of his office. And then we were like putting on his coat, and and looking at his drafting table. It was really cool. It was very cool. That's one. And why is it? Why is it? I don't know, because it's awesome. I love
Of course.
I
Yeah.
I love Gaudi. I went to Barcelona for my honeymoon and spent all my time like looking at all the Gaudi buildings, Barcelona. I mean, like
Huh.
I even forgot the Barcelona Pavilion was there because I was so focused on Gaudi. Can you believe it? I didn't even go to Miss Vandero's Barcelona Pavilion.
You know what? The thing is, well, I don't know. I mean, I've got, somebody posted it recently and they were saying, "Oh, it's perfection." And I'm like, "Ugh, I don't know. It looks the same as it did when I saw it in 1987." I said, "Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same, and
Was it
it's like
even worth
every
it? I
other."
don't know. I feel like I
It's like,
missed something. Like, I should have gone, but I was focused on the Park Güell, and I was focused on the Sagrada
yeah. Yeah.
Familia and the
No,
Casa
that's yeah.
Mila and like all these things.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. What year
and
was
then
that?
that was when I got married, 20 in 2001. So I
Oh,
went,
okay.
and then so the Sagrada Familia hadn't even been finished. I think they just now finished it, or maybe they're almost finished.
Right now because somebody was showing the thing and then they were doing like the big center spire. They're not done with like the big center spire yet. So I was like, oh
How
my
many
gosh.
hundreds of years has it been? Two?
Well, when I went there in 1987,
Wow.
I went there in 1987 and you couldn't go in. You could still only
Oh,
look from the outside. So you couldn't go in and you could just look at the outside, and they were only starting on the towers.
well, we were able to go up one of the towers. So
Yeah.
one of the tower, we were able to go, but it was still open air. There was like there was no roof or
Exactly.
anything.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
cold actually, but it was good that it was cold because I didn't come prepared, and I was able to get a very, very nice leather jacket that I still have today. So I could
Yeah.
say because I needed it. It was so cold. I wasn't, prepared. I was like, it was in March. Why? I mean, it was, spring here, cold over
Oh, no,
there.
no, no, March is cold.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we were
Yeah.
when we went to Spain, it was funny because we decided to go to the Mediterranean for a little bit. Oh my God, it was so cold. Forget it. And we couldn't go inside. So yeah. And then
Yeah.
the third one I was thinking about I love Falling Water. I've never been, but Falling Water by Frank Lloyd Wright. I've never been. I would
Mhm.
love to go sometime, Bear Run or whatever.
Yeah. Marcy, I grew up in Pittsburgh. I never went to Falling Water until I went back for a wedding.
Wow.
Yeah. So I
That's
grew
cool
up in
though.
Pittsburgh, never went to Ohio Pile, which is right close by. The other thing is that kids aren't allowed.
No?
They weren't allowed back then. They weren't allowed back then. And then they weren't even allowed when I took my daughter, and this was in 95.
That's
And
so
then she had to stay in like this little childcare thing. She was the only kid
Oh,
there.
really?
Yeah, and this little childcare thing that was by there. And then we took a photo in front of there. Our friends took a photo, but she wasn't allowed to go in. And she's a year old, so we could have helped her the
So,
whole time, but
so rude.
they didn't
Oh,
allow
well,
them. Yeah, yeah,
God,
they didn't allow.
so
Yeah, so
rude.
I didn't go back. I grew up in Pittsburgh. I graduated in like high school in 1982, and then this was 95 when I finally saw
Wow.
it. So
Well, I still haven't seen it, so it's been a long time. So
yeah.
yeah, that's one of my bucket lists. And then yeah, so and Faye Jones, I didn't tell you, Faye Jones has a chapel over here. It's beautiful. So I love Faye Jones. So have you ever seen
In
Faye Jones?
Arkansas? In
Yeah,
Arkansas
well,
or
no,
down there?
it's in Fort Worth, Texas. There's a chapel here. He's
Oh,
he's from
okay.
Arkansas, I think, right?
Yeah.
That they have
Yeah.
one. Yeah,
Yeah. They have one there.
that's
Yeah.
another like horror story. What happened to me over there? I'll tell you if you want. But anyway,
Yeah. Go. You could
oh my God, you don't know
in
what happened.
Arkansas?
No,
In
no, no,
Arkansas?
in Texas, in Texas. So
Oh, in
In
Texas.
Fort Worth, Texas, my husband,
Oh,
when I was dating him, he lived in Fort Worth, Texas, which is about an hour from Dallas. I live in Dallas. Okay, so
oh,
I'm in
okay.
Dallas,
Is
Texas.
it
He was in
far
Fort
away? I
Worth.
didn't realize it was that far away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
about an hour. And
Okay.
and so we decided to go on a date, and he took me to the Faye Jones Chapel. And it was in the old timey when I had a camera, like the old timey cameras that not old
Yeah.
timey, but
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
regular camera, the camera
Yeah.
that you put film in and whatever.
Yes.
So I remember, they had different exposures, right? Like they had one roll that was 24 exposures and one that had 36 exposures. And then so I thought I put the 24 exposure. So I kept on, taking my pictures, 24, click, 25, click, 27. It got to 36. I go, wow, I must have it went 36, click, 37, click, 38. I'm like, oh my God, what's going on here? I mean, like, it kept on going. I'm like, okay, I know that there's no such thing as, I mean, there is, but I know that I didn't buy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had no film in the camera. Nothing. I was like, oh no. I like spent a whole day at this chapel and took so many awesome pictures, and there was not one film in the camera.
Marcy, my kid's dad did that with our third kid.
Pictures
When
the
he
pictures
was
with no film.
born, he loaded it wrong. He like, right, because I'm in labor, like I'm just load, and it was 2000. I mean, we had digital cameras, but we didn't like, I don't know, we wanted like my 35
Analog,
millimeter. Right. I had this Nikon FG. I took it all for Europe. I don't know why we decided we had another camera. I don't know why we only decided. And then we didn't realize it until like hours. I was like, oh my gosh. I don't even think my son knows that we've just like totally like not said anything. Yeah. So
Well, tell them not to listen to this podcast.
they don't listen. I'm surprised that my daughter said the last time, because the last one, she was like, "Oh, you didn't mention like such and such in that podcast." I was like, I'm surprised because I didn't even know you guys listened to my podcast ever. So I don't know. Okay, so falling, and then falling water, and what was the other one that you
So
said?
Gaudi and TWA,
Oh, I know, but there another one that the chapel.
the Faye Jones, yeah.
Yeah, the Faye Jones
It was
chapel.
not, it's called, what was it called? It's actually let me think of what it is. It's the one, it's in Fort Worth. I think it's not a halfway house. It's maybe I'm gonna look it up because it's a
Okay.
really nice, it's a chapel that belongs to a an organization that keeps boys, I think boys that are, let me see,
Oh, okay.
Faye Jones Chapel in Fort Worth, and I'll tell you what it is. Okay, so it's called the Marty Leonard Community Chapel.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, and it's I think it's just a chapel for kids, and like it's wholly owned and operated by a nonprofit. That's it, the Lena Pope,
Oh, okay.
for critical resources for children and families in Tarrant County. So it's Lena Pope is the one that owns the chapel. So
Uh-huh.
I used to be called Lena Pope. I think they just changed it to Marty Leonard Community Chapel.
Okay.
Yep. Anyway, so that's it. If you're ever in Fort Worth, go to the Lena Pope or the Marty Leonard Community Chapel. It's
Actually
really nice.
never been to Dallas. I've never been to Dallas. I mean, like I've gone through in the airport, but I don't really
Of course.
and we even got stuck there one
Oh no.
time because my parents live outside of Joplin, Missouri. We had to fly into Tulsa, and that was back when there were no kind of direct flight. We were flying American, but yeah, we got one of the kids had to go to the bathroom, and one of us took him, and then we didn't have enough, and then they said that I could leave with the other two kids, and I'm like, I'm not gonna do that because this was even before cell phones, Marcy.
Oh
Really,
my
like
God.
we didn't even, maybe we had like some stuff, I don't know. It was like I don't even know whether we both had a cell phone there and then at that time or whatever. But anyway, we're like, okay, forget it. Um we're just gonna have to wait. And then we had to wait until 11 o'clock at night till all the other flights had left. But of course, none of them had 5 spots on it. And so so we went to the hotel at like 11 o'clock at night, right? So we just got on the shuttle, went over there. So I have no idea where we were. People were like, "Don't you know what hotel?" I'm like, "No, I don't really know. I don't remember what hotel was." We went there, and then we had to be back at the hotel or back at the airport at like 5 o'clock the next morning. So we were only sleeping for like 4 hours in this room, and then we went back. So I have no, that's my only experience. But yes, I need to go there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to tell you, even though I live in Dallas, and even though it doesn't seem like Fort Worth would be more cultured than Dallas, Fort Worth has all the good buildings, like the Kimball Art Museum and the
Yes.
MoMA. I mean, like literally, you come to Dallas, but go to Fort Worth. And Faye Jones, I mean, there's some here IMP buildings, and we have other things, but really the nicer buildings are and don't tell anybody I said that.
I think somebody just mentioned that like a couple podcasts ago. I think they said the same. I think Craig Matola said something about that too.
Agree that
He
Fort
was
Worth
like
is better
saying,
than Dallas.
yeah, because one of them was the Kimball. Yeah, one of them was
Yes,
the Kimball. Yeah,
Kimball's
one
there.
of
I mean,
his was the Kimball. Yeah.
I didn't tell you the Kimball, but the Kimball, I guess because I'm always seeing it. So I guess it's like, oh yeah, the Kimball. The Kimball's awesome. So yeah. And
Okay.
MoMA's there, the one that Tadeo Ando made, the MoMA here in Fort Worth. He's good. He's great too. So
Yeah.
we have good architects here, star architects. We have star architects.
Architects buildings. Yeah. So what do you like about being an architect?
I love making my clients happy. I love it when I get a text message today from one of my I did a little preschool for a friend of mine, and she
Uh-huh.
just got her CO today. So like she's like, look, I got my CO, and I'm like, yay! Like it's like, and it's just that makes me happy. Like
Yeah.
making others vision and make it reality. Or as an architect, I that's really what I love to do. I love the people aspect of it. I know I have other friends that are architects that just like the drawing part of it or the design part of it, and I know for some reason I like the people part of it. Like the
Yeah. Yeah.
bringing the people into the design and getting involved with that. And so yeah, I love being that person that makes my clients' realities happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I think like I look at so many things like with ramps, I mean, really there are a lot of creative solutions for ramps and
Yeah,
integrating ramps and steps together.
yes.
It's like so often, oh, I have to put a ramp in. I'm like, it's not really you can incorporate it, especially at the beginning. I mean, it's kind of hard to do, things
At the
afterwards.
after.
Yeah. Yeah, but if you're incorporating it in at the get-go, then it's easy. There's so many creative ways that you can incorporate ramps. And who would right? And my thing is also like, hey, if you've ever had a stroller, you have to take a
Oh,
stroller everywhere.
it's very
Yeah.
universal. I mean, it helps
Yeah.
all of us.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I the whole thing about us being problem solvers, right? We solve problems. So
Mhm.
how do you solve this universal problem that, of, changes in level or things that are not reachable or whatever? That's where we come in as architects and find a good solution, and not just to tack it
Mhm.
on. But what's interesting is the Wiley Opera House here in Texas, in
Mhm.
Dallas. They created, so their ticket office is down below grade, like maybe, I don't know, maybe 10 feet below grade. I don't know
Huh.
why, the street level, and then it's down 10 feet or more, probably 20 feet. I don't know, maybe a whole level. So they created not a ramp, they created the sloping sidewalk, like the zigzags. You should go and see it. It's actually on my website. I took a picture of it when it had nice plants on it. It's
Mhm.
beautiful. It doesn't have any handrails because it's
Mhm.
5% or less, right?
Yeah.
So you need handrails when it's the 5%, when it's not so steep, and it's just
Mhm.
meandering down all the way down to the ticket counter. I mean, there's steps
Yeah.
also, but then it's such a nice experience. You experience
Yeah.
that flow, and then they put planters all around so that when it's nicely kept and it grows, it's nice. But of course, in Dallas, the weather's so bad and harsh that that it doesn't really grow so well. But I did take a picture of it when it was nice and pretty. Yeah, there's lots of solutions that we can get to if we think it through. Like
Yeah.
we don't have to, and it doesn't have to look industrial. It doesn't have to look tacked on or a thought after. It's like it can be part of the solution, part of the
Yeah.
design.
Yeah. Yeah. Mhm. Um, so what would you like to say about the future of architecture?
Future of architecture, boy, a hard one. That's a hard one. I'll tell you what I get nostalgic about the fact that I don't know. I think we used to be much more well respected. I don't know how it is where you are, but in Texas, I don't know if it's Dallas or what, but they don't value the history of architecture. They don't value the architects in general. They
Mhm.
go directly to the contractor sometimes, and the contractor becomes their master builder. Like instead of us being the master builder and us being the so I get nostalgic about that part of architecture, that where we used to be more involved in the whole process, and us
Mhm.
we were part of the main team, right? And I get
Yeah.
not I get sad when we never get mentioned on anything, like they mention the contractor, they mention the benefactors, they mentioned it, and the architect's nowhere to be mentioned. Unless you're a star architect, then they mention you, but they don't mention us.
I don't know whether they're mentioned all the time. I just saw something the other day. I forget what it was. Maybe I'll like be able to think, but literally it was and I was like, oh, I wonder who designed that. And nowhere in the thing, even though it was all about the building,
Yeah.
Nowhere in the entire article was there any mention
Nowhere.
of who the
And I always
architect
look.
was. Yeah.
And I always
Yeah.
I look and see, okay, who's the architect? They never mention us. They never do.
Yeah.
So what the future, I mean, to be honest with you, it used to be very like green centered, or sustainability was a big thing. And I never got into that really. I mean, I got in, because I was more into the accessibility, but I see the future as more, I mean, I don't really know exactly, but I don't know. For me, I do see the future of architecture as being more universal. People are starting to become more interested in universal solutions, and I see that. I see that the people are wanting to, they focus more on that. Maybe it's because I'm in that field or that whatever, and I get those questions all the time. But I do see in in the projects that I work on, or the projects that I go visit, they do tend to be a little bit more accessible and more inviting, more inclusive. And I think that may be the future, that more inclusion, and of course the sustainability part of it, and the that is also pretty important, and that's still going on, and I can see, but I see that it's becoming that architecture becomes more sensitive to the users a lot more.
Too, sometimes people just don't know. I mean, I can remember, talking to one of, I had a Girl Scout troop, and one of the leaders of me, she had an architect design their house, but it was before I even met her or whatever, do an addition remodel to their house. And then she was saying, oh yeah, we did it this way because, and this is like 20 years ago, right? And she was like, oh yeah, we did this way because, we want to stay in this house, right? And I was like, what? And I'm like, we're young, like we don't need that. But, of course, 7 years ago, right? It happens to us, and then you're like, oh my gosh, like we can't, in order to bring him home, like we're going to have to add on to the house. There's no other way that we can do it.
Aging in place. Exactly.
Yeah. So aging in place. Exactly. And then even like so many things that you like think about later, like, oh, hey, like, we could also do this, or we could also do that, and I mean, even like the ramp, like we have a ramp at the front of the house, and, and I'm like, yeah, I don't think we're going to take the ramp off the house. I think we're just going to leave it there. We'll just leave the ramp at that. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I would have probably done it like we had people from, church do the ramp for us, and so I would have probably done it a little, but it would have also involved like removing a palm tree that we had.
No, you
don't. It wouldn't have been. Yeah, I mean, now that palm tree's gone, but the ramp has already been built, right? So it's like, okay, I'm not going to change it, but yeah, just all of these, just kind of things that we need, and then just thinking, about everybody, and not just thinking, and then, also about, sight, impairment of like sight, or, neurodivergent, neurodivergent, spaces, and and people that are neurodivergent, and those so just all of those things.
What's really cool is that that it's slowly the culture's changing into like thinking about those people, because in a few years ago there was a girl named Morgan who was autistic, and she couldn't play with anybody because they wouldn't play with her. She was not, she was different, so they didn't want to. So her father decided, I'm going to create an all accessible amusement park. And he did. It's Morgan's Wonderland in San Antonio. And it is awesome. And it's awesome for anybody. But it's really, really geared towards kids with disabilities, and kids that are autistic, and kids that are, like this is, and it's such a beautiful park. like,
Yeah.
that anybody can enjoy, even the able-bodied people can enjoy it.
Yeah.
And then it's just a beautiful thing that, that there are people that are interested in making life better for that community,
Yeah.
and that community isn't like, they're not just relegated to their, an institution,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
work.
Yeah. That's what, that's what people, that's what
That's
people
what the
used to.
ADA is all about, right? And
Yeah.
that's really what makes me
Exactly.
sad is when the ADA gets a bad rap because there's people that abuse it or they don't care or whatever, but they don't understand that. Who are they benefiting? It's like when we have fire codes, we're benefiting. Our user is able to get out of the building without getting burned, right? The same idea for people with disabilities. They get to use our buildings,
Mhm.
they get to use it without being a burden to society, without, they get to go to work, they get to go to the bathroom by themselves. There's a sense of dignity, it's like that's really what's the beautiful about the ADA. It might be
Yeah.
annoying for some of us to have to deal with all the details of like this turning circle got bigger and this got this whatever. And it's like, but who is benefiting? Like think about that,
I know. I know. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh, what was I thinking of? Now maybe it'll come back to me. Yeah, I just think a lot of time. I know. Sometimes people will. I mean, we had this thing that happened to our church. I just brought it up to the people at Fox Valley Elevator. I brought it up to the sales rep, Lauren. It's like when we moved from LA. I moved back down here, but we came down here and we saw there were plans for a community center for our church. And my the kid's dad and I looked at the plans and we're like, where's the elevator? Because it was a two-story building.
Yeah.
It was a two-story building. And this was 1999. And this well-known architect in town here who had done a lot of churches and designed this. And we're like, where's the elevator? Like, I can't believe, like, you can't have this building with it. And then they said, oh, well, these are rooms or they're going to be offices. And I said, well, I thought they were going to be classrooms. And I said, still, there should be, they're like, oh, well, people can,
Use the downstairs.
yes, that they can just go to the classrooms down there. I'm like, you can't, those are the preschool and kindergarten classrooms. You can't have like a fifth grader down in this room just because there's, and we were just like, you're going to have to, like, you should put an elevator in the building. Right. And they were like, oh, no. Right. Right. And then, the project was built, right? And then some of the older people were trying to get up the stair and they're like, we have to walk up these stairs. And I'm like, yeah, you guys looked at the plans.
Hello?
Everybody said. So then they had to put in an elevator after the fact, but it was the cheaper, it was just a lift. And so of course, lifts only go so high. So then they had to put a ramp going up to the lift. And I'm like, look at this.
Oh.
And I said, and this was signed by an architect. And it's like the kid's dad and I said from the very beginning, like, oh my gosh,
Exactly.
and now
Just like you said, if you're going to design something, design it the right way at the beginning, and like retrofitting something after the fact is so
especially a new building. Just trying to
Yes.
get out of like trying to do these things. It's like what? It's like for everybody. I mean, not everybody uses that, right? It's like
and then a lift is one at a time. I mean, imagine if like a couple wants to go together. Okay, well, I'll see in a little bit.
I know. And then also just like these temporary disability, it's like one of our friends, I mean, she broke her leg and so she was walking, right? And I mean, she's like 20 years younger than me. And she was walking around, with a walker, then to a cane, could only walk like a couple steps at a time, and kind of navigating that whole thing when there aren't any accessibility standards. I mean, California is pretty good about it. We had friends in church that one of the kids was using a wheelchair, and because she had spina bifida.
Mm-hmm.
and so she was using a wheelchair, and then they moved up to Oregon, and I guess Oregon, or their accessibility is not as stringent, and they actually moved back down here after a few years, and they said, yeah, when we were thinking about a place that we wanted her to be in, it was California with these stricter, because otherwise it's very difficult for her, because she's going to have this all of her life, right? She has had it all of her life, but why make it so challenging?
Exactly. Oh, and then it's exactly, you do have to pick where is going to be the best, especially if you need the accessibility. That's why I'm grateful Texas is one of those places that has a
Mhm.
strict law, and every architect, every building, commercial building over $50,000 has to be reviewed and inspected by an
Yes.
accessibility consultant. And then that there's no lawyers involved. It's just basically this is the right thing to do, and we're gonna, check it. And all my architects, they know that
Yeah.
it's gonna be, and then they're very good at, like, the ones that use me a lot, they
Uh-huh.
learn. So, like, it's such a nice feeling when I go do their inspections, because I don't ever find hardly anything wrong, because
Yeah.
they know what they're doing. So it's like, we've worked together for so many years, and they're aware of what the ADA and what the Texas accessibility standards are, because
Mhm.
so it's a good feeling to know that they're all moving in that direction.
Yeah, yeah. And I was licensed in Texas for 5 years. I never did any projects over there, but I remember like the continuing ed, and we have
Yeah,
continuing ed here,
you have
but
five
it's nice to
hours.
see.
Yeah. 5 hours. What ours is 1 hour, but it's still 5 hours. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh,
It's,
okay.
they
I mean,
keep upping it,
you know what
right?
we do? You know what we do in
Yeah.
Texas, like in the AIA in Dallas? We actually have a game show every year, like for our continuing education hours. So, like, we
Really?
actually, yeah. So it was really cute. And we had the Hollywood Squares, this last one, where we have 9 people, and we have, like, people from this, and then they ask ADA questions, and then they have to guess. And we had the
Oh
64
my
dollar
gosh.
pyramid last year. It's a great way to learn, because they're like asking all these questions, and in a game show, but it's all ADA questions.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very cute. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Well, my
yeah,
daughter even
yeah,
had
done
my
that.
daughter's she just got licensed as an occupational therapist, but
Oh,
she
that's
was
cool.
yeah, but part of their stuff was the standards. So
Yeah.
she was like asking me these questions, and then she missed one of the questions on the test or whatever, but it was like a ramp question. I was like, oh my gosh. I said, like doing those questions, having to figure those out for site design for the ARE, let alone
That's
you
great.
had to
I
figure
know. And
out
then they have
you had to shit. And they had it so that it was like the conversion of it, right? So instead of putting, right, they used the same, right, which that wouldn't ever be allowed on any of our exams, because they would be like, no, that's tricking people, like you're not allowed to
that's
like
right.
trick people. Yeah, yeah, so it was a total like trick thing, and I was like, yeah, you would never, like, that's tricking people. You're not supposed to be like tricking them, or like coming up with codes that don't exist.
No. No, because
That's,
it confuses
yeah,
us.
yeah. So
Yeah,
we don't do that. But these
that's
other
cool.
exams, I mean, apparently they like had it.
One time AIA Dallas actually did we did this several times before COVID. We had have a wheelchair for a day, like sit in a wheelchair for a day.
I saw Bob Borson do that.
Yes. Yeah, how do
Yes.
you know Bob?
Pardon me?
How do you know Bob Borson? Oh,
Oh,
because
from
Life of an Architect. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the
So,
blogging group, from the blogging
oh,
group.
that's cute. I didn't know you guys did that.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
Bob
from
and I went to
hashtag
university
Architalks.
together.
Yeah.
Bob and I went to university together. We became fellows together. We actually were like very close in like our he started blogging, and I started doing social media about the same time, and he was like
Uh-huh.
really into it. So it was cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was one of my people that did the sitting in a wheelchair for a day, and then after, he was one of the panelists that explained how he did it. It was cute.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I did
Cool.
do it once. I did do it in we actually had it in Denmark, which Denmark isn't very accessible because it's so old.
I know, right?
They did have a wheelchair, and the ramp from building to building. I mean, that's where I like ended up being in a wheelchair then I went to go down the ramp, and the ramp was like too steep, right?
Oh,
And
I
so I
know.
couldn't stop it, and I totally ran into one of the yeah,
Ouch.
I totally ran into one of the cubicles.
Oh no. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah,
it's
because
not
I mean,
so easy to do.
no, it isn't. It isn't. And
And
I mean, I'm like,
even
well, that's
even
what
the 1 to
happens when
12.
the ramp is too steep.
But even the
Yeah,
1 to 12 is really steep. We don't even realize it. Like we think 1 to 12 is 1 to 12, whatever. It's hard to do a 1 to 12. I mean, if you ever try to go up a 1 to 12 ramp, it's hard. It's not
yeah,
easy. So,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
anyway, yeah. So, but we do our best, So.
Yeah. Yeah. So is there anything else that you wanted to say?
So, one of the things that I love what you said in the beginning that you see my posts and whatever on Facebook. This is one of the things that about the future of architecture. I don't know if it's something that's going to happen, but I have started to notice that more and more women in architecture are starting to take their health back. Like we suck at taking care of ourselves. We take care of everybody else. We take care, even as moms, we also take care of
Oh
our
yeah.
clients, our
Yeah.
deadlines, our business, our employees, and we don't take care of ourselves. And I think that that's so important. I lived on Cheetos and coffee when I was in college and no sleep, in
Yeah.
university. And
Yeah.
those bad habits, kind of caught up with me. And so this is why I think a healthier mindset and a healthy
Mm,
attitude and a positive attitude about life
mhm.
brings us to be better architects, better designers, better people. I just love
Yeah.
that. It's something that I'm seeing more of a trend to for more positive thinking, more positive changes in our lives, and so that's
And I
good.
mean, I I mean, I can talk to, I mean, there's a few architects that I said, I like to walk to the lake. It's like it's 4 miles. It's like I need that to get the stress out. People are like, oh, you're obsessed with your health or your granola or
Oh,
whatever. And I'm like, no, it helps me feel better. When after we had this family member and I couldn't do it as much, it's like I just needed to do it. It's like I was starting to gain weight. Like if and then if you have any physical problem, like I couldn't walk for like a few months when I sprained my ankle really bad because I fell through the deck, my own deck. People are like, was it a
ouch,
job site? I'm like, oh no, it's my own deck. My own deck was under construction and I fell through it.
ouch.
But yeah, yeah. But yeah, I mean it just helped. And I had like a few architects say, like, well, I wish I had enough time to do that. I wish I could just do it. And it's like, okay, you know what? If
Thank time.
you're yeah, take time. I mean, that's what I do for me. I mean, I'm not taking, this elaborate vacation somewhere, it's like, so that's what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm doing it a few times a week, and it keeps me healthy. I feel so much
Great.
better after I do it. Yeah.
Good for you. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the thing. Is like we think there's not enough time. I bet you. I mean, if I stop scrolling on Facebook all the time, that's there's time right there.
I know. I know. And you're
And I
like,
mean,
oh, well, I'm
it's like
working. Yeah. It's
the
like, oh, well,
priority
I'm
level. And
working. I'm like, yeah, but I mean, everybody's working. We're all busy, but
I'm
it's like yeah, it's like we just need it. So and I also I love the recipes that you share. There's
you.
like some great recipes on there that because I don't eat beef or pork. I haven't for years. I haven't since 1982. I haven't eaten any red meat. So it's like I really like that you have like these different vegan options or vegetarian options, because and then I'll look and I'm like, gosh, and it's like I don't, I'm not like out there looking for different recipes all the time, right? So it's like nice that I'm like, oh, okay, there it is right there. That sounds good, like, yeah, that's a good option. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I also like I need ideas. I don't cook all the time. I cook once a week, and I sometimes my family's like wants me to cook something. So yeah, I'm busy cooking, not I don't have time to cook so much either. So mine have to be
Yeah.
simple and whatever. And yeah, so it's helpful
Yeah.
to like,
Yeah.
like all the things that I learned to do to take care of myself. It helps, to also plan ahead, and I learn to I mean, I'm a good I'm a good planner because architects, we plan well and we organize well. So why not do that in my kitchen? Like I
Yeah,
can
yeah, no, exactly. And then, it's like you kind of get stuck on the same thing. So you're just
yeah,
making the same thing. And then I just started looking at these recipes. I'm like, oh yeah, I could do that. And then, it's like my sons do a lot of the cooking, and my daughter's like said, oh yeah, go on YouTube or do this or do that, and so yeah, you can just like share those, ideas like, oh, why don't we have this? And just like put it on the list, shop for it at the store, and that's them, right? That's them becoming more into, I mean, you know, they're older. They should be able to do it. They just don't, they just still live in the house. But I'm like, yeah, you're gonna be shopping, you can cook, and then that's a help to me also, it's like help. So yeah.
my
Yeah.
and my
Taking some of
daughter,
the
my
burden
daughter
off.
is yeah, and now my daughter's 20 and she's starting, she cooks on her own when she's in college. And I
Mhm.
got her an air fryer, one of these, ninja foodies, and she sent me a picture of all the things she makes. I'm like, that's so good. So, like it's like it's a good feeling, like to give over, that healthy mindset, that healthy
Yeah.
habits. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Wait, is she in architecture school?
She just got
She
accepted.
did, right? That's what I thought. I'm like,
Yeah,
didn't your daughter? Yes.
at
Okay.
University of Texas. Yay.
All right, your alma mater.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
So and it's so funny because there's a couple of professors that I had that are still there, and he actually one of them is like, "You're Marcy Abadi's daughter." Oh my God! Like they still remember me. It's awesome. Yeah. So
Yeah, I mean that's the funny thing about architect, because our classes tend to be smaller and then there's more like one-on-one learning. I mean, one of our pastors at church, I was saying something about a professor at school and like how we still talk to, he goes, do your professors like actually remember who you guys are? And
yeah,
I do. I
yeah,
just think do. I said it's very, and then it's also, the profession is very, it's very
small,
incestuous. Yeah, it
very.
really is. Like yeah, like one of the product reps was like saying, somebody's like, oh yeah, I ran into so and so and so and so, and I didn't think that I'd run into anybody that I knew, but actually met all these other people. And I'm like, well, yeah, we have it's a pretty small network of
And
people, and I said I can guarantee that some of the architects that you met there are people that I met, because he had been in LA and I would, I'm down here, but I was in LA. I went to school at Cal Poly Pomona, which is in LA. And then I was in Venice Beach for 10 years, and so all of these people that like we know, I'm like, oh yeah. Or like even, years later, you're like, oh, that's so and so. Like, yeah, I went to school with him, So yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
it's
funny.
cool. I
Yeah,
I love being part of that community, to be honest. I like being in a small community where I know everybody, and yeah, I like it.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
and
Okay. Well, do you have any big plans for the year?
oh my gosh, stay above
Any
water.
New
I mean,
Year's resolutions or not?
you know what? I just really need to have. I need to slow down more.
Okay.
I just go on too much. I just, you know, yeah, I don't know. I just need to be better about being more mindful about the things that I take on and my clients that I take on. And I want to be, and now, since I just hired this woman that I'm hoping is going to be my office manager, I'm really hoping
Yes.
she's going to take some of the burden away from my stuff. Right now, it's the onboarding time and the training. It's like I'm not being so productive, but that's my goal. My goal is for me to be able to delegate more to to the woman that I hired and to my husband who came to work for me 6 months ago. And you know,
Okay.
hopefully it's gonna be a good year. I can
So is he
feel it.
an architect also?
Yeah, he's an architect also. See what I mean? We're all incestuous, everybody
Well,
marries everybody.
it's funny. Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I only date architects also, but yeah. And then my late ex-husband was an architect. But it's interesting because I have seen so many women who they're the ones that started their firm because they had a baby, and then their husband comes in
Join
to
them.
and joins them.
I mean, it took him a long time. I was actually wanting
No,
him to
I'm
come sooner. But he was like, well, insurance and this and that and the other thing. I'm like, so what? We'll figure it out. And so he finally got it. He's like, well, you know what it was? It was that he went back to his old firm, and his old firm wasn't his old firm anymore. And he was and it was disappointing, and it was a far drive, and they were just treating him like an intern when he's like 60 years old. It's like, he's not an intern anymore, like quit hovering, And so he just said, I don't want to be here anymore. So he stayed there a year, and then he came to work for me. So I was like, yay. So, and then we had a couple of architectural projects that we work on that he's doing. I do the accessibility, he does the architecture, even though I'm technically the project manager for the architecture. Because he likes,
So it's also including architecture then, and not just the accessibility. Yeah, that's great.
He's also an accessibility person, and so if we slow down in architectural projects, then he can help me with that. But yeah, right now I'm wanting to focus him to. He likes to draw, so let him draw. Let him be happy.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah. Well, that's great.
And then my daughter can come work for me too in the summer. No. Actually, she needs to go work for another firm. So like, she doesn't deal with mommy things. Like, I'm her mom, like she takes advantage.
Exactly. I mean, I've asked my kids to do so, and I've even like offered to pay them, and they're just, I don't know, they're just not. Yeah, no. And my daughter, they said in high school that she should go into architecture, right? So both of her parents were architects, but she's like, no, I don't want to do that. Now,
my son that way.
Then she goes into occupational therapy, and then she says to me, she's like, I could probably do accessibility now because I can do it. I was like, oh, like that. Meanwhile, you went to school and you had to pay all this money, and now you're just to become like, you could have just done that. You could just done that working for me. But now she has, it's one of my things in my website that like, okay, we have an occupational therapist, can help you with the thing, come and assess things. And so I said, okay. And then she said, I knew that like one of her friends, I thought it was one of her friends, like fellow students that had said that. And she was like, oh no, it was one of my professors that wanted to take this other course in order to get certified in that. And I was like, what? And I said, yeah, like if your professor
come work for me, okay?
I mean, she's already graduated from the thing, but I thought that it was just another student, and here it's the professor that wanted to do that and wanted to go into business. I'm like, well, you guys can both go into business from, with me if you wanted to, is like part of the thing. I mean, I don't know. I'm just, they can bring in whatever projects. I'm not going to go after. I'm not actively going after those projects, but yeah. So. Good. All right. Well, that's good. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Thank you so much I enjoyed talking to you and getting to know you better, actually. So
thank you so much. Thanks. And thank you to Fox Valley Elevator. I will put their information in the show notes and then also in the accompanying blog. And thank you so much, Marcy.
Thank you so much, Michelle. It's a pleasure.
Thanks.